Hey yo, YouTube. Alright, this will be a quick and dirty one. Just tying up a few loose ends on this ridiculous machine and the address breakout stuff that we were playing with. So, you know, where do we even begin with this thing anymore? Alright, so 10-second recap. This is the extra 139 that breaks out our unused address space. And what we've done with it is a few things. So this is more or less the same thing I did on that cart in that last video. I got some dislikes on that, so if you dislike that video, just close it now because this is even more ridiculous. But at any rate, here's the three addresses, D100, 200, 300. I bring them up here to this little board I whacked in there. This is a 74LS11. It's an AND gate, basically. And we just I've bridged a couple of the gates together on it so I could bring more addresses in. So that's what this jumper is in the middle. He's just bridging the two of the three-legged AND gates together. But at any rate, here's our three addresses coming in there, and then he will come out and drive the SRAM chip I installed in the board in what used to be the character ROM slot. So the other half of this helps us free up the character ROM slot. So this side of the AND gate here, there's a red, white, and blue wire running in here that hopefully you can see. The blue one's kind of hidden, but trust me, there's three wires in there. And they're coming from, let's see, I don't even know if we'll be able to see it or not, but yeah, there we go. So yeah, this is coming out of the PLA's socket, right? So this is the chip select lines for all three ROMs going into this AND gate, and then the green wire coming out here is what drives the single ROM chip. So it's kind of like a half step between the ROM setup on a 25469 board and what a reprom does. If you've heard of the reprom product, that thing will merge a bunch of ROMs together and give you a whole bunch of ROM switching. So this is like a scaled back version of that circuit, basically. So it's, like I said, just the three chip select lines for what used to be three ROM sockets going into an AND gate, coming out as a single wire, driving this chip. And this chip now contains the character, basic, and kernel all in one. And the other chip select stuff, let's see, can we move this without breaking anything? This is where you'd have the three jumpers for choosing a ROM bank here for a multi-ROM selector kind of thing. So I just pull A15 out of here over to a dip switch, and that way I can have basically two ROM sets. It switches all three ROMs out at the same time. So anyway, that's how we freed up the socket to have a place to stick the silly little RAM chip in there. And then the over here is another LS139. It's performing the same function as the LS139 I stuck onto the cart in the last video, and he controls read write, chip enable, those sorts of things on the static RAM chip. This line I had to pull high. I forget which one this was. I can go back to the docs, but anyway, this is just going to be a quickie little high level thing. If somebody's actually interested in doing these stupid mods, let me know, and I have a cheat sheet somewhere. Yeah, this is the circuit. This is the 139, right? That's driving the RAM chip. But I can definitely do this up better. I have a spreadsheet, with all the different pinouts documented and what I'm doing with them and all that other stuff. But I can put this into like a how-to kind of thing, but I don't know that anybody in their right mind would do something like this. But if you do, let me know, and I will pull together some documentation and help you along. So yeah, a few extra chips added, and we have one extra socket now if we want to throw something else in there. The SRAM chip was just an easy choice because the pinout mostly matches a 27C style ROM, but no reason you couldn't throw something else in the socket with some kind of bodged together adapter or whatever. So anyway, that's kind of it for the ridiculously tiny RAM edition and everything else. So there is one other thing going on with this machine, and if you noticed in the last video or two, there is a Cat5 cable soldered onto the bottom of this CIA, and we'll play with that here, kind of go from there. Alright, here's the last little bit for today. So why did I attach a Cat5 cable to the bottom of my CIA chips? Well, the quick answer is I didn't have any user port connectors at the time. I did order some, but I needed to get 6 wires bridged between these two machines, and, well, there's 8 of them in here, so what the hell. So this is for cross-compiling with Turbo Macro Pro. Well, I shouldn't say cross-compiling, but compiling to another machine. Turbo Macro Pro eats up a bunch of memory on your machine, so if you have an REU, it'll bank stuff in and out. But if you don't have an REU and you have 2 Commodore 64s and a Cat5 cable you don't like very much, you can cut it in half and hook the machines together. So here on what we'll call the target machine, you load the receiver, and he just sits in a tiny little bit of memory, and he is waiting for instruction. So on this machine, we can load Turbo Macro Pro X2 version, which is just the regular Turbo Macro Pro, but with the ability to compile onto another machine over the CIA port. Alright, so there's some code left over from when I was playing with this earlier. I guess I didn't leave the machine off long enough, so here, let's reload it fresh, because it's not exactly right. There we go. And let's see, we want to assemble to 2064, say. And there you go. Your code got flung over to the other machine, assembled and flung over to the other machine, and we are a-running. You can break out of there. And go back and listen again for your next rev of code. So say you change your code, you want to run it somewhere else, whatever. And there you go. So this works around, Turbo Macro Pro sitting in a bunch of your memory, where without an REU or another 64, you'd have to save to disk, assemble to disk, break out of the Turbo Macro Pro completely, load your code, run your code, figure out it was broken, reload Turbo Macro Pro, blah, blah, blah. This would make things a lot easier back in the day. So, I mean, nowadays, I guess everybody compiles on a PC or a Mac or whatever, and then send your code over, but I thought it'd be kind of neat to, work with period correct hardware, if you want to call it that. So yeah, so that's all this does. There's user port connectors on AliExpress for a couple of bucks a piece that were taking forever to get in from China, so my impatience led me to doing this silly little mod. So anyway, that's that. Like I said, quick one for today, and we will be moving on to bigger and better projects. So the next video, we'll be talking about one of these. They're beautiful, aren't they? Glorious, happy red and gold board. So, yeah. Fun stuff is on the horizon. So until then, have fun, go solder something, take care.